In the chaos of Lagos, where arms blare without mercy, and the air smells faintly of roasted plantain mixed with exhaust fumes, a man sits alone on a broken wooden bench. His name is Samuel Adeyemi, a man whose shoulders carry the weight of choices made long ago. His shirt, once white, is now faded from years of wear, and in his lap rests a small worn-out bag, the kind that holds all a man's life when life has taken almost everything else. Around him, the motor park is alive. Downful buses loading passengers in a hurry, workers shouting prices for bottled water and meat pies, a sea of strangers in a rush to be somewhere. Yet Samuel is still his gaze fixed on the ground, as if afraid to miss the heights of the world. He is waiting for something, or perhaps trying to gather the courage to take the next step into a life he is not sure will welcome him back. 2 decades ago, Samuel was not the man on a bench. He was the man everyone in his street respected. Hardworking, full of jokes, and full of dreams. The sun was warm that Saturday morning as he stood outside his neat family home, laughter bubbling from his chest. Beside him, his beautiful wife, Ada, balanced a basket of fruits while their 2 children, little David and Ife, played on the front steps. A small car gleamed in the driveway, and neighbors waved as they passed. The scent of fresh mango drifted from the trees, and Samuel believed life could only get better. He had a good job, a growing savings account, and a future. The smoky bar smelled of cheap beer and bad decisions. He started as a harmless visit. A friend had convinced him to join a card game, just for fun. But the flashing of bills, the thrill of winning small rounds, and the hunger for more blood, the line between fun and addiction. Samuel's laughter grew louder as the nights grew longer. He began staying out late, gambling away not just money, but time with his family. Empty beer bottles littered the small table as 3 other men leaned in, cards in hand, facing shadows by a single dazzling bulb. The air was thick with cigarette smoke and temptation. Samuel told himself he could stop anytime, but temptation, once fed, becomes a master that refuses to let go. It happened faster than he could believe. Job gone, savings gone, friends gone. That morning, the landlord's voice thundered through the thin wooden door of his one-room apartment. His belongings, clothes, books, even the small farm, were dumped unceremoniously on the street. Neighbors watched quietly from their windows, some with pity, some with judgment. Samuel stood frozen, shame burning his skin like fire. The once proud man who used to stand in front of a fine home now stood before a pile of defeat, with nowhere to go, no one to call, and nothing to his name. He picked up his bag and walked away from what was left of his life. Talk settled like a blanket over the quiet bus stop. The last downfall had gone, and Samuel sat on the warm bench, his bag beside him, unsure of his next move. A gentle voice interrupted his thoughts. "You look like you could use this," the elderly woman said, holding out a small bottle of water. She was dressed in a clean, traditional wrapper, her headscarf neatly tied. Her eyes held no judgments, only compassion. Samuel hesitated, then accepted the bottle with a quiet "thank you." That simple kindness, a stranger's willingness to see him, not as a failure, but as a human being, planted the smallest seed of hope in his weary heart. The rural house was small, its walls weathered, its roof patched with old sheets of metal. Samuel had been given a place to sleep by a distant cousin who barely knew him. That night, as crickets chirped outside, he sat on the veranda, an old Bible in his hands. The kerosene lamps glow made his shadow dance against the wall. His hands trembled as he turned each page, reading words that seemed written just for him. "I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten." He whispered the verse aloud, and for the first time in years, he believed it could be true. That night, Samuel prayed, not for riches, not for success, but for strength to become a better man than he had been. The carpentry shop smelled of fresh cut wood and sawdust. Sunlight streamed through open windows, catching the dust in golden beams. Samuel's hands, once soft from office work, were now calloused from labor. Each cut, each nail, each polished piece of furniture felt like a step toward redemption. The shop owner noticed his dedication and began to trust him with bigger projects. The work was hard, but it was honest. With each passing day, Samuel's spirit grew stronger, shaped by discipline and humility, like the smooth edges of the tables he crafted. The steady rhythm of hammers and saws echoed through the open-air carpentry shed. Samuel stood among a group of eager young boys, guiding their hands as they measured, cut, and polished wood. Years earlier, he had learned carpentry as a struggling man in another man's shop. Now, with patience and skill, he passed on the same crafts to those around him. The boys' eyes lit up with excitement as they shaped their first tools and tables. Samuel no longer worked just for himself. He worked to build others. In their faces, he saw hope, and in their progress, he found his own redemption. Years later, Samuel stood outside a modest but well-kept home, a bouquet of flowers trembling in his hands. He had heard where Ada and the children now lived. His heart pounded as the door opened, revealing two young adults, David and Ife. Time had changed their faces, but he would know them anyway. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then David's eyes softened, and Ife's lips quivered into a small, uncertain smile. Samuel's voice cracked as he said, "I'm sorry. I came to make things right, if you will let me." The living room was warm, the glow of the lamp casting soft light over framed photographs on the wall. Samuel's arms wrapped tightly around his daughter, tears streaming down both their faces. Ada stood quietly to the side, her own eyes glistening. A small family photo album rested on the table, a reminder of what was lost and what could be rebuilt. Forgiveness did not come all at once, but in that moment, Samuel knew the door had been opened. The community center buzzed with chatter as young men filled the small hall. Someone stood at the front, microphone in hand, a banner behind him reading, "Never too late." He spoke from his heart, about mistakes, about falling, about getting back up. His voice was steady, his gaze strong. "Your past may shape you," he told them, "but it does not have to define you. It's never too late to start again." Applause filled the room, not just for his words, but for the truths they carried.